Yeah, he was fantastic. I expect him to do a great job. Obviously, the Blues should be confident. They won last year's series, so they're going into this year with a pretty good team. I think, obviously, look, we're talking about Origin, still got to get through a week of footy. And a week of footy is a long time, as we know. So let's hope all the big guns don't get injured this week and we can pick the best team possible going into game one.
Gus, he was your number one Origin player of all time, Laurie Daly. You loved coaching him. He says there that he's got to be better and he will be better. What is it you think he'll change?
I'm with Gal. I mean, the comment there that there was a perception that he was soft on players, I think is totally wrong. I don't think he was soft on players. I think the last time he coached, I felt that he was a little bit too trying to please people on the outside about selections. I think he was heavily influenced by people on the outside, where if you're going to do that job, it's got to be you that does it, and you've got to have your own selections. And I think if you could just urge him to be his own man, he knows what an Origin player is, he knows what it should look like, he knows Origin football as good as anyone, and he's got to trust his own judgment on that, and I would urge him to do that. He doesn't need advice from other people, he doesn't need advisors, and he doesn't need to please anyone with selections. He just needs to go with his gut feel and go from there. And then if you do lose, well, then you can say, I got what I wanted, I've got no one to blame. And I think a lot of the angst came because I think there was a little bit of uncontrollable stuff there for him, and that's what eats away at you. And he's 100% right. I mean, the coaching of the Origin side is an enormous pressure. There's enormous responsibility. There are so many eyeballs on that game, and there's such big scrutiny. And you're playing, you're coaching the best players around, and they've got pressure on them as well. It's a wonderful test of everybody, coaches and players, and it's an emotional roller coaster. And he was openly admitting there that it, got him run down and it made him sick. But those scars can come back and make you stronger later on. So I hope he comes in as a stronger coach and stronger minded about exactly what he wants.
Billy v Loz in the coach's box, but what about their sides? A week away from picking them. Gal, we got you to decide on your Blues lineup for, which is hard to wrap your head around, Origin 1, Suncorp Stadium, Wednesday fortnight.
Yeah, as I said, I'm with Gus a bit on this one. You don't like picking it too early, and a week in rugby league's a long time, but that's what I've gone with. Dylan Edwards, Brian To'o, Turbo, Latrell in the centres with Crichton. Turbo on the wing. I've gone with Jerome Luai simply because he plays on the left-hand side of the field, a left-foot kicker. Reece Robson, Payne Haas, Mitch Barnett. The rest is all there. So I have left Jake Trbojevic out, which was the hardest thing I had to do. He's one of the guys who everybody in the game absolutely loves, but I just think that just the leg speed of some of the other guys on the bench. Spencer Leniu, he's an absolute powerhouse. Terrell May has been absolutely outstanding, and Hudson Young has been great this year. He had a poor second half on the weekend, so he'd want to pick his game up a little bit this week, but I thought, I think he's been outstandingly. And I think he's a guy I can put in the middle as well. He does play on the edge for the Raiders, but I think he's got the ability to play in the middle if you need him to.
New skipper? Your name is
I've got Nathan Cleary. Nathan Cleary for me. I think, look, Isaiah Yeo and him would obviously be a toss of the coin, but I just think it's Cleary's time. I think it's the final frontier for Cleary to conquer. He's won 4 straight premierships, the best player in the game, as we all know. And I just think if he was to be named New South Wales captain, he'd absolutely love it. And to succeed there, I think leads him to immortality, I reckon.
Where were the errors?
With you one day, Smithy.
No, please, come on.
Gus, you leant over and read with interest Gal's team there.
No, it's only because my eyes are bad and I can't. That's the only reason I was leaning forward.
You happy with his team?
Eh?
You happy with his team?
That's one version you could have, yes.
Any tweaks?
In other words, he loves it. He loves it. He loves it. Doesn't want to admit it.
There'll be a couple of little tweaks there, but, I don't pick my teams until the medical, that.
The interesting thing, obviously, is Latrell, Crichton, Turbo, and how they make that work, the Blues, before we talk about your Maroons.
Well, all three players are elite players, aren't they? You just got to have them there and put them in a position, and Laurie will make it work. They'll make it work as players. You look at the way they play their games, they're team-first people, which is what makes them so special. And whatever role Laurie needs them to play, whatever role their state needs them to play, Brace, they'll fulfil that.
Well, the other one, Zach Lomax. Zach Lomax has been out. The only reason I didn't pick Zach Lomax is because he's been out for a long time. Speaking of Mitch earlier, he'll be back.
He's back.
He'll be back this week, and he's 100% ready to go. He's not coming back just to try and make Origin. He's 100% ready. So if you're to put him in the back line somewhere, maybe it might be a toss-up between him and Brian To'o. That's a big, strong, powerful back line. They're all 6'2", 3+ 100 plus kilos. That's a big, big, strong side.
I'm really interested in the selection, and I've heard this a few times. Why would we be picking Turbo on the wing?
Why would I?
Yeah.
Well, I think he's got to be in the team, Gus. I think where do you put it? How do you have him in front of Crichton? How do you have him in front of Latrell? Latrell's a big game player. You need a big game player. He had big moments in Origin, as you know. Latrell can just produce things other players can't do. Crichton's been outstanding. And I just think you need Turbo in the team. He's a big body. He's a kick option there. He's tough enough. Why isn't he tough enough to bring the ball out of trouble? That seems to be the perception people have of him. He's not a Brian Toll. He's not. The wingers like front rowers these days. That's what they say. And he's a big bloke. He'd be 6'2", 6'3", 105 kilos. How much bigger do you want him to be?
I didn't say he wasn't.
But what's the question?
I didn't say he couldn't run the ball out of the
But
backfield.
what is the big
I
question?
just said he's not a winger. That's all I said.
He's played on the wing for the Blues before.
So where's Turbo?
I'm sure he's played on the
Played
wing.
centre.
I'm sure he's played on the wing for the Blues before.
So Turbo in the centres, it would be your preference.
Well,
He's not full
I
back.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, you've got Latrell and Stephen Crichton. I don't know how he gets into the centres, and I don't know why you'd pick him as a winger. He's an outstanding player. I think it'll be an absolute tragedy if he goes through his whole career and at some time doesn't wear number one for New South Wales, because he's a scoreboard influence. He's a huge, but there are so many great fullbacks around. Unfortunately, you've got to leave blokes out. You just can't give them a second prize and play them on the wing because they didn't make their position. Pick your fullback, get a winger. Why are we playing fullback on the wing? I don't get it.
He's never played.
I love you, Turbo, but not on the wing.
But Gus, we picked him in the centres and he was the best player on the field. Roamed around the field. Why couldn't you do that from the wing? Why couldn't you do that from the wing? Roam around the
How
field.
many did they win by?
They won the series, didn't
They
they?
won by 50, I think they won.
That was Townsville.
Yeah.
On to the Maroons. Cameron, your
Yes.
team for the opener. Come
Yep.
this time next week. Billy obviously piecing the puzzle together as we speak right now. How do you
Yes.
see it?
Yeah, well, I've gone with Kalen Ponga. Obviously, no Reece Walsh. Coates, Murray Taulagi on the wings. Val Holmes, he's back in the centres. The Hammer as well. He's been a standout for the Maroons over the past few series. Munster, Cherry Evans keeps his spot there as skipper. Harry Grant, big test for Harry Grant this week. Been out for 4 weeks with a hamstring issue. He will play this week, I believe. So Billy will have a very, very close eye on the way he performs and how the hamstring goes. If not, Gus's man, Reid Marnie, might get the call up, I reckon. He's been in great form. Ruben Cotter starting up front with Tino. Tommy Gilbert, Bo Firma for me. He's been in great form for the Titans. Paddy Carrigan, he's got the 13. Then Tommy Dearden, he takes the 14 jersey with Ben Hunt out. Lindsay Collins, game back this weekend, the Roosters. I think he's confirmed to play. Nanai and Mo Fotuaika. Kurt Mann, number 18.
I love it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Melbourne Storm wouldn't risk Harry Grant if he wasn't 100%
No,
right.
don't think so.
But would Billy pick him without a game? If he wasn't 100%, like he's that good a player.
Yeah.
He's that good a player. Would Billy pick him if he didn't play? If he didn't come up quite right this week?
I reckon he would, Gal. Yeah, because Billy spends a little bit of time at Melbourne Storm training, you got to remember. So he's there and he's seeing the work that Harry's doing. So he's got a better opinion on it than I do. But if he was fit and the medical staff were confident that he could get through a game of football without playing NRL, I reckon Billy would pick him.
It would have been really interesting if Ben Hunt was fit, how that would work
Yeah.
with Tommy Dearden.
Yeah, well, it'd be a very tough decision for Billy. There's no doubt about that because the discussion has been around Tom Dearden and the utility value that he brings. He's pretty much a younger version of Ben Hunt. Plays in the halves but can play a little bit of 9 as well. He is a tough customer. Built for Origin. We've seen what he's produced for Queensland already in this arena. He came in his debut. Remember when Cam Munster was ill? He got called up late. He came in and had like 8 or 9 out of 10 performance for Queensland, and you could throw him really nearly anywhere, like through halves, number 9, even in the middle as an extra, ball playing 13. Yeah, I think he'll do well.
How's that Queensland team looking?
Inspired selection, Bo Fermor. I like that. Sounds like he knows what he's talking about, Cam. Inspired selection. He's a really good player. Really good player. And I think he would excel playing with those great players in Origin.
Can't come
Not that
quick
we
enough.
want to help Queensland too much.
No, absolutely not.